All right. All right. I believe we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Nonsense live stream. I'm Yaga. How are we doing this Sunday afternoon? Did we survive St. Patty's Day last night for all you crazy fucks that went out and had a good time? I was at work all day. So I already have had plenty of St. Patty's Day memories. So, hope everybody was safe. And you remember where your car was. Yeah. Did you ever lose your car on St. Patty's Day? I have once. I won't get into details, but let's just say I lost my car. Apparently, St. Patrick's Day is the #2 most, the day where most people get pulled over is like the #2. I'm not sure what the #1 is. Probably, I think it's either Black Wednesday or New Year's. But #2, which makes sense. Everybody's Irish. Everybody's having a good time. All that good stuff. Ooh. So anyway, what's going on, folks? Here we are today. Talk a little bit about truth and comedy. I want to talk a little bit about family and just truth in general. Like I said, it's always funny when just St. Patrick's Day. So I went out on Friday night to do comedy, see a show. My friend was running a show and didn't cost anything. So I said, fuck it, let me go, because one, I need to get out a little bit. I don't get out a lot much anymore. Like, believe it or not. It's just like, I don't know, like going out to clubs and bars, I don't do. And, but comedy, man, I love seeing entertainment. I like to laugh. So I went out. It's at a place in O'Malley's in Aurora, Illinois, and it's in a interesting neighborhood to say the least. But some of the comedians I remember from when I was helping run comedy at the Brick Lounge, because some of those comedians came out and did comedy night there. So I recognize a few of them. Excuse me. They're funny. Jim Flanagan. I'm going to throw names out there because I don't give a shit. These people need to be promoted. If you're funny, I'm going to say your name. Jim Flanagan. And the headliner's name I've never saw before, but he was fucking great. His name was Adam Burke. He was like a half American Irish dude. So, St. Patty's Day, going around wearing a 3-piece suit at O'Malley's and Aurora. He made fun of himself. He was brilliant. You can tell professional comedians, man, that are like on a different level than people that are just starting out. They know how to work crowds. Like, there were a couple hecklers, and you just put them in their place. Like, it was great. All his jokes were pretty sound. He was hilarious. I totally dig. I don't know. Comedies to me is just, you got to get out and laugh every now and then with all the bullshit in your life going on, whether it's you read it in the news, whatever's going on in your own household. It's good to just like sit down, hear some jokes, and remember that everything's not so serious, laugh a little bit, take it easy. That's what I did. So it got me thinking. I was like, man, I really miss doing comedy night. And there's one episode, a fellow of mine who does all the photography for these guys. He's a great photographer, does video and stuff. He takes wonderful pictures. His name's Nelly. Nelly the Photog, I believe, is his Facebook page if you want to follow him. He's amazing. We were talking, and he had this concept to do like an interview show with comedians and bands. And at the time, we called it Bricks and Glass because we were at the Brick Lounge. But we did one pilot episode. It's on YouTube. You can find it on my YouTube page. It's like about 30-40 minutes long, and I interview a member of a band and a fellow comedian. And we just talk and shoot the shit. It was actually really cool. And I told him when I was there Friday, I'm like, dude, that was actually a really good idea and a good concept. We should rehash that out. And he's like, I was just thinking about that. So I'm not really big on being at the right place at the right time, but I do see opportunities. Excuse me. And I had an opportunity to work that out with him. So we might do something in the future. And what I would do would be like a host of it, which is great because I'm definitely the hosting kind. So I hope I can do that. Oh, we had somebody, but they left. That's okay. Moving on. So anyway, yeah, man, the comedy was great. Like I love it. It was really weird to be in a place like O'Malley's, which is like this Irish bar. So it's like half the people there were there for the show. The other half of the people were just there to get fucked up. You can tell because it was like a lot of bar background noise for the poor comedians as they went up. And you know, if you're at a comedy show, it's supposed to be you're supposed to listen, being like into what they're saying. But then in the back here, you got like just tons of people carrying on in conversations and stuff. So I mean, if you're on stage, that's nerve wracking. It's just like it's distracting, number one, because there's like all this background noise, and it kind of takes away from the whole experience of the show too. But credit to the comedians, though, they did a good job at handling that crowd and fucking nailed through it, and they powered through all that nonsense. It even got some of the people that probably weren't even there for the show on board. So that City of Lights Comedy is what it's called, from Aurora. City of Lights Comedy. So follow them on whatever social media, Google it, Facebook, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Support these people because they were really damn good. And I plan on going out again. I believe they have something coming up on April 20th. All right. That's all the name dropping and promotion I'm going to do. But anyway, so there's also, with comedy, you get to sit down and laugh at stuff because we laugh at it because one, it's funny, but I think also too, there's a lot of truth in comedy. When you crack certain jokes about things, you go, well, you know what happened, like an easy one that people, I don't know if they get offended by, like the priests and the little boys, oh, like that's so bad, but it's like something that happened. So you take it, and to deal with it, a lot of comedians threw jokes on it is what I meant to say. I'm fucking tired, folks. I'm sorry. These Sunday live streams are a little bit harder to do than the Wednesday ones because I worked all day yesterday. No excuse, but nonetheless, it takes a little bit to warm up. But anyway, there's a lot of truth in comedy and a lot of honesty too, and you see a lot today where comedians and stuff, you can only say certain things and people are getting censored. And it's like, oh, you can't say that. Like, dude, you're supposed to be able to say anything you want when you're doing comedy. Anything. That's the point. Like when Kings had gestures, they were supposed to know things that, nobody else was supposed to know and make fun of it. And it's just like something you do, man. You can't put a cap on that. Because if you put a cap on comedy, like the one last source of pure honesty and truth, then I don't know, we're in trouble as a nation and as a world if that starts happening, man. And you're like, oh, it's not happening. I'm like, sure, maybe not right now in your town, but if you need to, like I said before in other live streams, there's a whole world, people. And if you don't think other parts of the world affect us here, they do, because it'll eventually get to us, like Canada, for example. Canada has, they censor comics and ban people and all this stuff. There was I forget the article, but I'll have to dig it up. There was a comedian, I believe, who got arrested for something, a joke or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I could be wrong, but there's some story like that, and it happened in Canada. So check that shit out. Just Google it, people. Do some research. You'll figure it out. Also, too, what else in Canada? Oh, the goofy Canadian bastard, eh? I always feel like I'm talking about Canada a lot. Whatever. Fuck Canada. No, I mean, don't fuck Canada. I've never been, so how do I know? I like to go. It'd be fun. All that shit. Niagara Falls, I guess. The dumb tourist shit. Anyway. There's another article, though, that I am going to link down to where this comedian got in trouble for a joke she did. Something with the NASCAR thing. I'm paraphrasing again. It had something to do with NASCAR because it was a man of, I'll leave the link in the description below so you can read it and check it out. But I believe it's like the guy was Mexican or Hispanic descent, and she made a joke about going into the wall or something like that, and some other jokes there too. It's pretty funny, but then of course people are butthurt by it, and they're just like, "What's that supposed to mean?" You can read the article. It's on Yahoo. I'll put the link in the description. But it was just like, come on, man. This lady who is a comedian, by the way, That's her job, is to make jokes and do that kind of shit, and you're getting in trouble. That's like getting in trouble for doing your job. I don't understand it. Like, if a teacher was to actually teach the subject they were taught and what they're supposed to be doing, then all of a sudden they're getting in trouble. Like, you were a psychology teacher and you're teaching psychology concepts. We can't have that. We can't have what you're supposed to be doing. Like, it's retarded. And I said retarded. I don't care. I say retarded because that kind of stuff, from the standpoint of life, is just like crazy.
This is what I did to myself.
Excuse me. God damn. See, even I'm not immune to the fucking social media bugs. This is why. You know what? Here, fuck this. Phone's over there. All right. Yeah, but if a teacher was teaching like their actual subjects in school, psychology concepts or something like that, it's like getting in trouble for that. This lady was a comedian. She got in trouble for making a joke about the guy going to the wall and he just happens to be Mexican. It's like, come on. That's fucking hilarious, number one. I was like, why are we so, like, why do we hate truth so much as a nation? We hate the truth. It's like, there are people jumping over walls to get here from Mexico. It's like a real thing. People want to be here because Mexico, for the most part, isn't a great place to live. What are you saying, man? You can't say that. I'm like, it's not. Man, there's places that aren't good places to be. And if those people are willing to like risk their own fucking life to get here and maybe have a slightly better life, I mean, that tells you a lot about why they're doing it. But people don't look at it like that. They look at it as like, well, they're just jumping borders. But anyway, it's a funny joke, hilarious. Read the article. You be the judge. You read the article. You let me know if it's dumb. Or do people even have the right to be offended? That's stupid. You know what? Fuck. Right to be offended. I guess you do have. There's no rights, privileges. It's like one of my favorite comedians, George Carlin, man. I love George Carlin. He is like almost like a philosopher too. If you really watch his comedy, he says a lot of shit that is still relevant even today. And in his last special, the one he had right before he died in 2008, there's a nice bit where he talks about, if you think you have rights, no, they're more like privileges that can be taken away, like government and rules and stuff. We don't have God-given rights or anything like that. Things are the way they are. And then there's a bunch of privileges when you live in this great country and nation. So, I don't know. George Carlin, he's definitely on my top list. I've been watching a lot of old Sam Kinison too. God, he was fucking great. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't understand him because of the stuff he's talking about. Like, I was married, but now I'm preaching don't get married. Like, when you're a fucking kid listening to that, you don't understand what he's talking about because you're a kid. It doesn't really apply to you. Then you become an adult and you start watching it and you go, oh, yeah, it makes sense. And Sam Kinison had some really good bits, man. I love the one, he did one about, he goes up to the guy in the crowd. He's like, you single? He's like, yeah, I'm paraphrasing his bit and I apologize. I'm not a comedian, so I can't get in trouble for jokes because I'm not a comedian. So he just says something about, if you want to get married, you want to settle down and think about changing your life, remember this face. And he's just like, ah! He just screams like, he's like, that's your fucking face if you get married. I'm not saying it is for all. I think that's your face if you get married. But people always say to the wrong person or the right person, but I don't know if there really is like a right or wrong. I think it's not as cut and dry as a right and or wrong person for you. I honestly think it's more or less, if you're with somebody, it's a person you can continuously grow as an individual and as a couple together. But you both have to be growing as individuals. This is how I look at it today. I didn't always see that when I was younger. I always saw like, oh, you're cute. I'm cute. Let's get together. Oh, my God, your family's so nice. My family's nice. I guess we can make something special. Yeah, I guess. That lasts a little bit. But, when you got to think about the sacrifice of a relationship. Being in a relationship is a sacrifice. But like not necessarily bad. It's a good thing because telling another human being, I'm willing to do these things and give up my own selfish personal happiness in order to please you and make your life a little bit better. And that goes back and forth. It's not just one-sided. So that's the problem, I think. A lot of relationships more on the one side, one or the other. There's not enough back and forth, not enough give and take. It all, you hear all this dumb cliche shit the older I get, but you know what? The older I get, the more I understand why I should hear it more and listen. But to each his own. It takes time. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. We'll talk about marriage. But anyway, Sam Kinison. I got my tickets to go see Bill Burr in November. He's coming to Chicago. I'm super excited because Bill Burr's fucking awesome. He's still one of my favorite comedians. I've been watching him. I don't know, 2010, I think, was when I saw his first special on Netflix, and then everything else after that. It's fucking great. Love him, and I'm going to be way close. I got pre-sale tickets, so I'll be up in the front. I fucking see him. It's going to be fucking amazing. So fuck yeah, Bill Burr. Yeah, man, but there's so much truth in comedy. But if you take away the truth and you just want to hear jokes that are designed to, pander to certain people or crowds or this and that, or it's, I don't know, man. You can't always hear what you want to hear. Sometimes you really need to hear what you don't want to hear, because that thing could have been hindering you this whole time in life, and you don't even know it. You're not even aware of what it is until maybe a couple people bring it out. I talked about this before. Maybe somebody's like, you're being a little moody. And you're like, fuck you. And then like 2 or 3 people are like, you're being a little moody, Matt. Then after 2 or 3 people kind of have a similar consensus and they're trying to tell you that maybe you're being a little nuts, that's, to me, is a good time to be self-aware and be like, all right, maybe I am being a little crazy. Maybe I should look at what I'm doing right now. Am I being a little moody? Oh, yeah. Then you think about it. But that's somebody, like, for me, I'm a little bit more open-minded to that today. I'm kind of pretty aware if I'm getting out of hand or acting a little bit, if my behavior is out of line. But, I still say what I want. I do what I want within reason, but I don't go out viciously and try to start shit. But at the same time, I take responsibility for stuff. But if someone's telling me I am acting a little crazy, after a couple times of hearing it, I'll think about it and be like, you know what, I am acting a little crazy. And that takes work, man, a daily work effort to actually sit down and look at yourself and be like, all right, what can I do today to improve on my quality of life? I don't know how many people are really doing that on a daily basis. I think everybody's too fucking busy with life. Maybe you're married, you got a fucking job that's taking up all your time. You got the kids, you got 1, 2 kids. I mean, that's a whole different concept and world of, your time focused in on those kids. You want to make sure they're okay, educated, this and that, whatever else it is. I mean, hell, I got my sister here with my nephew, and even he's, it's a big thing to do. Taking care of family, work, and then you got to balance both of them out. It's hard, man. I had a really good conversation with my nephew. He stopped by this morning, and my older nephew, my whatever. He's 14. He was a freshman in high school, so he's coming into that age, adolescence and all that stuff. And I don't get to see him that much, but I love hanging out with him because we're a lot alike. We like nerdy shit, like in the back there, and we'll talk. He likes to read. He's telling me about, like, he's reading fictional books and this and that and the other thing, and telling me his actual interests, which is great. I don't get to hear it that much, and I feel like privileged that he actually wants to sit down and like share that shit with his uncle, which is great. 5, 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have cared. I'll be honest with you. I would have been like, get out of my way. You're in my way, because it's a selfish, self-centered thing. I'm always thinking about what I want. But the fact that my nephew wants to hang out and talk to me, that's fucking amazing. So this is why family is another important thing, which another topic I wanted to have. Your family's your family. It's an involuntary relationship. You couldn't choose your family, but you can choose how you want to deal with your family. For the most part, I mean, everybody's got their stories and their issues with their family and this, that, and the other thing, but I think for the most part, I come from just run-of-the-mill, cut and dry family, like it's like a small family's like a community. You got the guy who's like the black sheep. I tend to be the black sheep in my family. I'm like way outside the box of the norm. You know, everybody listens to country. I listen to metal. You know, everybody likes fucking cabbage. I hate cabbage. You know, whatever. Stupid shit like that. I mean, those are just little things, but whatnot. But you know, like I have my little 9-month-old nephew now, and I look at things a little bit differently. My little nephew, you know, he's just a little human being, and you're trying to teach him everything you know as he's growing up, you know. And I've seen my nephew grow up, and now he's at that age where we can talk, so it's fun. So I like kids. Little kids are fun. They're fun to play with. You know, they're cute. They do some dumb shit because they're learning. You know, they don't know anything yet. I honestly like the fact now, I cherish the fact that I can have a conversation with my 14-year-old nephew who actually wants to talk. I mean, that to me is more valuable than the kid throwing a ball or, you know, taking steps. Because, I mean, that's something we all do. But to sit down and talk with your family, nieces, nephews, or kids or whatever, and actually engage in conversation, I find that today way more meaningful than as they're a little kid wearing cute things and stuff like that. That shit to me just seems, to me, is meaningless and pointless and just like a stage of life, you know. I'm not saying you know, sometimes I always wish I could just fast forward from, you know, born, I'll let you be like 4 or 5 for like a week or two, and then jump right into 20, because then we can talk and hang out. That's how I like kids, because then we can hang out, you know, and be more hangout buddies or anything like that than actual that. Oh God, excuse me. So I don't know. I like to what? Weird. Okay. So I just went blank. Anyway, oh well, fuck it. I was talking to my nephew. He's telling me how, you know, they go to steakhouses. My brother-in-law is a grease monkey. You know, he builds cars, races them, and stuff like that. And it's just always been that. That's just who he is. But you know, we got a Longhorn Steakhouse in town, and they go there all the time. And I was talking to my nephew. He's like, "Yeah, we get takeout there all the time." Like, you get takeout steak? Like, who gets a steak to go? Only my brother-in-law. See, that's what I'm talking about, family. See, if I didn't love them, I couldn't make fun of them. If you can't, that's why comedy and like roasting people is great. Roasting people is out of love. If you do it out of love, it's fucking hilarious. If you do it out of hate and spite and you're just being mean, then that's just evil. Then that's evil. That says a lot about you. But if you're doing that shit, you're making fun out of love. Come on. If he said something about my action figures, I'd be like, it's a good one. Because even I make fun of myself. If you can't make fun of yourself, man, then I don't know what to tell you. But he's the only motherfucker I know who would get steak to go. Not sit there and enjoy it. I want it to go. Fucking brother-in-law. I love him. He's a fucking good cat. My sister did that thing. She was one of the lucky ones. She got married at 19. And they're still together over, you know, going to be 20 years. It's like, and even longer because they dated forever. But she fucking said, fuck all the bullshit. You know, some people get married young and I think can work it out. And I think if you decide, like, if the way I think, this is the way I think marriage should work. If you decide you're together, okay, no matter what you do, and you actually abide by the bonds of marriage and look at it like, all right, no matter what the fuck happens, we're going to figure it out. I think it's this, you know, that'll work if you're willing to do that. But see, if you get into a marriage and like, oh, the first time this thing or that thing happens and you're not ready to deal with it or not willing to, it's a question you got to ask yourself, I think, when you get married. Don't just be so obsessed with the idea of marriage. Like, it is nice to share a bond with somebody and then, you know, walk down the aisle, share that moment, I guess. But I mean, that's a nice moment, but it's not the rest of your life, you know. The rest of your life and having to be with a person, like I said, it's sacrifice. You are willingly sacrificing things for this person. They have to be willing to sacrifice things too. And if you're both willing to do it and go back and forth and to give and take, then I think you can grow. But you have to be honest. But, you know, there's fucking all kinds of shit in between. It's not just black and white, you know. You got to have some common interests. And if not, you know, I don't know what works. I just know what doesn't work for me. somebody not letting me do my stuff and be oppressed with this. Like being on here just saying what I want to say. If somebody's like, you can't do that, I'd be like, yeah, no. And then you can go. You can go. Like that's how I look at it today. It's like I don't understand that form of sacrifice. To me, it's just it's a form of stupid lighting. Ew, I gotta shave. Thanks, guys. Let me. What else was there? Fuck, I had a nice list. I never really know what I'm going to talk about. I just kind of wing it and hope people will chime in, but I guess not. Yeah, but keep the truth in comedy, folks. If we lose the truth in comedy, I don't want to be a part of the world, man. But also, too, think about it. Things aren't as bad as they seem to be. We really are. Everything's pretty good. Like, out of all the times in history that I've studied, I don't think I would want to live in another time. I think the fantasy and idea of living in a time to see what it was like let's be in the Wild West, the gunslingers, bam, 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 or you know, like 1920s fucking prohibition gangster shit. It sounds good as a story. In reality, you probably wouldn't want to live there because you forget, like, well, we didn't have antibiotics and this and that and the other thing. You know, there's just a lot of factors people don't consider. It's like, I think we live in a great time. It's a great world. We can make it all awesome. You just take that shit and take your own responsibility. Take hold of your own life every day. If you can fucking do that, man, it'll change this world. It does it slowly, but it can happen. It's very possible. I believe so today. I believe so today. I did not believe it 4 years ago, but I believe it today. But you got to practice that shit on your own end. You know, you can't blame. You can't expect if that person, this person, the world, this and that does everything, it's going to cater to you because you're not the fucking center of attention, nor am I. But you can react and do things all crazy and stuff. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to keep this one short today because I'm relatively tired and I seem to be going all over the place. But that's kind of the point of this is, you know, whatever. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about on Wednesday. Wednesday at noon, we're going to pick back up the No Nonsense live stream. You follow me on Twitter at MJ Yaga, also on Facebook at TWO Yaga. My YouTube channel, The Word of Yaga. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. I feel like since I've been doing these live streams, I've been getting more subscribers than when I was a YouTube partner. And I've been on YouTube for over 3 years. So it's been steadily increasing this past week, and I don't know why, but hey, that's great. I appreciate it if you are subscribing or even taking the time to like this or watch what I'm babbling about. So I appreciate that. Follow me on social media, guys. If you want to have a conversation, engage in conversation with me, that'd be great. I'd love to. Every Sunday and Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time, I'll be here for the No Nonsense live stream. And until Wednesday, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope you're recuperating. Hydrate yourself if you went out last night. Try not to just take a little rest if you're off today. Take it easy if you went out. I'm sure St. Patty's Day kicked your ass. I know. I've been there before. So lots of water. Put on a fucking movie. Watch the Boondock Saints or something like that. That's always a good St. Patty's Day post movie or whatever. So, all right, guys, have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.